it's Enes here. In this video, I will tell you about where to invest if you only have $100. Alright, so here are the list of ETFs to consider. What I mean by that is ETFs are typically funds that you can invest that includes a bunch of stocks and sometimes funds in them. It's almost like a basket of funds that you can passively own and don't need to do anything else. So mainly in this video, I will list 4 major ETFs to consider: VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, Vxus, Vanguard Total International Stock Market, VOO, Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and VGT, Vanguard Information Technology ETF. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Vanguard Total Market ETF, VTI. This ETF seeks to track the performance of US total stock market index. What that essentially means is that this ETF will have around 4,124 stocks in it, and this fund has total net assets of $1.3 trillion. And you can see portfolio composition, it's pretty diverse. Basic materials 2%, consumer discretionary 15%, energy 4%, technology is 27%. And you can also see the top 10 holdings in this ETF: Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Google, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, and etc. So this is a great ETF if you want to have an exposure to the entire stock market. So essentially, by just putting $100 into this ETF, folks, you're owning 4,124 great companies in the US. All right, the second ETF I like to discuss is Vxus. Vxus seeks to track the performance of Financial Times Stock Exchange Global All Cap excluding US index, which means all the companies outside the US. This is also a broad exposure to stocks and funds, and it also includes emerging non-US equity markets. When you look at the number of stocks, this one is even a little bigger. It has 7,896 companies. And then the top 10 holdings are Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturer, Nestle, Samsung, Roche, Tencent, ASML, which is a chip company, Toyota, Shell, AstraZeneca, and BHP Group. All right, the next ETF I like to discuss is VOO, which is Vanguard S&P 500. Folks, this is also US only ETF representing 500 largest US companies. So this is a little bit more of a focused ETF. So it's only considering or investing 500 biggest companies in the US. And so as you can see, this one currently has 506 companies. And then the top 10 largest holdings are Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, Berkshire, Meta, United, and Johnson & Johnson. And then if you're curious about the sector diversification, the biggest is IT. And then I think the next biggest is healthcare industry, consumer discretionary, and etc. And then the last ETF I like to bring up to your attention is Vanguard Information Technology ETF, ticker symbol VGT. This is a passively managed using a full replication strategy. So essentially, it invests in 357 technology companies. The top 10 holdings are Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Visa, MasterCard, Broadcom, Cisco, Adobe, Accenture, and Salesforce. And what I like about this fund is that the sector diversification even within IT and technology is pretty nice. So you can see 11% is application and software companies, 10%, 10.5 data processing and outsourced services, and 17% is semiconductors, which is great, and then 22% is system software. So by owning this ETF, you're gonna own 357 great companies in the tech sector, essentially. Now, what I like to do, considering all these ETFs, I like to take a look at some of the price change over the years. One way to do that is essentially just going to Google Finance and searching for those ticker symbols. So in this case, I will just search VTI, and then it'll show up just like how I have it on my screen. And then here you can see 1 day price change, 5 day price change, 1 month, 6 month, year to date, and 1 year, etc. So max, as you can see, ever since this VTI was created, which is I think back in 2001, it has the return of 273%. To compare this to our next ETF, which is Vxus, which is right here at the bottom, or you can just click compare to Vxus. And because this fund was created around 2011, it doesn't make sense to leave it at max. I guess for now, I'm just going to keep them all at year to date. Folks, because stock market, at least in spring 2022, has been pretty down since the highs back in November 21. That's why we're seeing a lot of reds here. Again, I'm just going to add all the 4, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it, go through. The next one I'm going to add is VOO, which is right here, and then VGT, which is right here. All right, so now you see a different color representing different ETFs that I just discussed. And so out of all these, the one that lost the most power is VGT, 16%. Vanguard 500 VOO lost about 10.2%. Total international stock market, Vxus, lost around 10.9%, and then VTI lost around 11%. However, when you look at the last 5 years, we're going to see a very different picture. Now we see the orange one, which is VGT, brought the return of 174.2%. S&P 500 brought almost 80%. VTI, which is pretty close to S&P 500, brought 74%, a little bit slower. And then total international stock market brought the return around 10%. So folks, this is a tool that I frequently use to analyze stocks. Google Finance is a great methodology to do that. And I highly recommend. So lastly, you might be wondering, okay, well, I know these ETFs exist, but where do I buy these ETFs? The way I do it, I use M1 Finance, which is a great online brokerage tool. And I also have a video that I could link right at the end of this video. And if you're curious about learning more about that, you can take a look at my video explaining how to buy ETFs and stocks on M1 Finance. That's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe if you like this video.